Hello and welcome everybody. It's Sunday evening for those of us in Europe, and that means one thing: it's time to round up the Misfits Racing League racing action this week. And of course, this week it's been around France here with Formula 2. Joining me as always for the F2 races is Alex Biller. Alex, how are you today?
Hello, Unicorn. I'm very good. I'm very excited to see these drivers going here around France.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a track that has provided a lot of action so far this week. 15 corners and those two huge DRS straights really play a massive role in how this one plays out. The final sector, we've seen some really bold, daring overtakes through there. The opening corners as well. It's just a wonderful track, especially after the close racing that you get through Monaco, Baku, Canada. Very closed wall circuits, difficult to overtake. Here in France, the track is, nice and wide, but then you have huge runoffs, so it's not too punishing, and it's pretty hard to retire around here. Possible, but pretty hard. And, well, this is round 10. Let's have a look at where we've been, where we're going. Obviously, the first 9 rounds: Australia, Bahrain, Vietnam, China, Netherlands, Spain, Monaco, Azerbaijan, and Canada last week. This week, obviously, France, and well, we'll be seeing that track in action in just a few moments' time. Then next week, it's a break week, but following that, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be going to Austria, followed by Britain, my home race, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Russia, Japan. Then we have the USA, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi rounding things off for round 22. So we're almost halfway through the season, but we're not there just yet. We're still on round 10. It's flying by so far, season 4 of the Misfits Racing League, but it's been so far so good, and France has provided some of the best races that we have seen so far this season. Obviously now, the community event being Formula 2 kicking off following APAC division earlier today, and well, yesterday evening for those in Australia. But we also had endurance yesterday that kicked off the other community event, and well, what a race that was. And fingers crossed F2 could deliver, even if it's half as good as that endurance race. We're on for a real thriller here tonight, Alex.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for these drivers to ready up, and I think we'll be ready and green lights here on France. Remember, one shot qualifying, very important, because it's 4 points for these drivers if they nail this lap. It's a very long track here, around 127 on the F1. I will guess around 150, 140 on the F2. 15 turns and very difficult to nail it. It's a very long one, and of course, very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we kick things off with that one shot qualifying, a big shout out to everyone in chat. A big shout out to Titanic for the raid of 2, and also a big shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for a sim racing rig, be sure to check them out in the link in the chat, and also the panels down below. They've got some awesome stuff, and they're doing brilliant things for the sim racing community, so it'd mean a lot if you could go and check them out, and make sure you're in the Discord as well for the opportunity to join community events like the F2, like the endurance racing, and obviously anything else that springs up. There might be a few community events coming up in the next week when we have a break from the typical action. But with that being said, I think everyone's readying up. We've got 15 drivers so far in the lobby. I don't know if anyone's going to turn up late, but right now we've got 15 drivers in. The countdown clock is on, and well, the last 2 France races will be kicking off in just a few moments' time. And it's a very exciting track, Alex. Any expectations here with the F2 cars, the differences that they provide with the F1 cars?
I think a lot of overtakes we can see here. As always, the slipstream very powerful on these F2 cars. This has a very long straight, this track, between 7 and 8 on the Mistral straight. And probably we can see a lot of overtakes there, probably 3 wides onto turn 8 and 9. Very good chicane on exit as well, a lot of overtakes on sector 3, probably with this. Little cars, probably. Oh, I didn't expect that one.
Well, I'm going to assume by your reaction that it's raining. And in raining it is. That is a lot of water piling down onto the circuit here in France. And that has thrown a huge spanner into the works, because these F2 cars, people struggle to control them at the best of times. Full wet race, full wet qualifying. This is going to be very, very interesting. We've seen Rain take control of a few races this week, but not quite in this fashion. This heavy rain from the outset. We've seen Rain fall halfway through a race, but let's have a look. See what happens when everyone gets into those cars. Presumably full wet tires here, Alex, with the amount of water that we're seeing on circuit already, or at least in the pit lane.
Yes, this has to be all fours full wet tires. As I remember, we don't have the intermediates on this F2. They have from dry to full wet. So, well, as you can see, this really can be the condition where you put wets, and we are on board with Neon.
Yeah, Neon, the one that the game has defaulted to in terms of who it's going to follow here. And, well, he's coming through turns 1 and 2. Like you said, those full wet tires, not having the Greenwald intermediates available to them. Down towards turn 3 he comes, and he's currently sitting in provisional pole with where he is currently. Brainstew, Richie there as well. Those guys nice and close, and we've seen them all challenge for poles here in F2. Now coming through turn 6. Usually you'd want to stomping the throttle as early as possible here, though with the rain, Neon being very, very trepid on that throttle power. He has got it all down now. Those green bars in the bottom right all full, but it took him a while to get there, much longer than you would usually see in the dry. Braking just before the 100 meters there, a little bit earlier than we see in the F1 cars. Through now 8 and 9, a little bit squirrely on exit, but he's still holding on to P2 right now, charging out of 9 now, down towards turn 10, what is usually a flat right-hander. Whether you can take it flat in these conditions, we'll have a look and see. Nope, that is a huge lift from the high-tech driver, and he's actually overtaken Brainstew as it stands, and we'll have to see whether he can hold himself in P1 for the rest of it. Look at how slow he is having to manage it through here. Him and Brainstew right now neck and neck in terms of who is going to come out on top now through turn 12. A little bit wide. That's not where he wants to be. You can see Brainstew's name hopping up. Oh, a big slide. He's kept it valid, but his teammate Richie and Maka have both overtaken him as well. Neon really struggling in this closing sector right now as he comes down into the final corner, just wide of the apex. A bit of a slide. He's still side by side with Maka in terms of the delta and the time. Brainstew picks up pole position by a whole second compared to Richie. Neon 6/10 behind him, just ahead of Maka, who's ahead of Jones by 4/10. Then Henner's Eric, Mark Moen back row in 10th, Coffee Sipper in 11th, Lavelle 12th, Williams 13th, Psycho in 14th. And well, where's Squid in all of this? The game didn't let us see. I'm going to assume he's had some sort of an incident in the rain there. And, well, let's see. We got Brainstew on pole again. 4 points going to the Univirtuosi car. The two high-techs start behind him. Jeffrey Ritchie and Neon in P2 and P3. Maka in 4th. Jones in P5. Hennes P6. Eric, Mark, Moen, and back row round at the top 10. Coffee Sipper, Lavelle, Williams, Psycho, and Squid with a 2:11.5. Definitely a massive issue there for the BWT driver, Alex.
Yeah, he was last, I think. Well, with that delta, 18 seconds to pole, I think he really had a bad time there on the rain. Probably a spin that caused that massive loss of time. And of course, the qualifying as well, the sprint, future race, as well as the qualifying will be on full wets. We had Rutenius saying on the chat that the sprint race will be dry. So probably drivers can be more relieved on those conditions on the sprint race, but at the moment it will be as well on full wet Unicorn.
Yeah, and that really provides an interesting dynamic to these races. There is a prediction in the chat. Will the pole sitter win this race? We see it a lot of times where someone else can just come through and really take advantage, whether it be on penalties or track position. Coming through as well on the chat that Squid spun twice in that race, but we don't have a formation lap, so we're going to have to go straight into things. We have 5 red lights. We are expecting a bit of a delay, but we're not going to get one here. A very short lighting sequence. Brainstew's got away nicely, as has Richie, who's going towards the left. Mac has had a lightning start. He's already passed both high-techs down towards turn 1. Jeffrey Neon there side by side. Richie's struggling to keep that car under control. He's cost himself. He's cost his teammate.
Eric
Hennes is up the inside.
As well. Eric and Williams having a big issue on turn 1 and 2. It doesn't feel like any major issue in terms of full yellow course. Yellow flag, sorry.
Oh, it's
And
best
Lover
three
goes
cars
out.
spinning into the wall. It's a huge crash for Psycho. Jones is out as well. What on earth has happened between these guys? I've never seen an incident quite like that. 3 cars synchronized spinning into a wall, and we do have a full course safety car. My goodness, what a dramatic start to this one.
I'm not even surprised. What was that? That was unique, as that was the triple spin out of turn 2. And of course, a full course yellow. Safety car. Eric having a spin. Williams as well. It was like all the traffic was holding there because they were impeding the track and the flow of it. So they really had to block all the track when they spawn, and then Eric is last. And after that, I think they didn't expect the traction to be that bad, and they spawned 3 cars at the same time, level with damage, but it's still on the race. Safety car will be now, and still the rule of the mandatory pit stop stands. But I really don't know if with these compounds they can go to the end.
Well, having a quick look at the position changes, Brainstew, the only person in this entire race to hold on to where he started this race, that would be P1. Maka, we saw him just vault off the start, really just jetting past the 2 high-techs for P2. Richie lost out to Maka. He's now P3. He was squarely on the start. Cost his teammate Neon a couple of places. He's down in P5 with Henners being the driver, splitting those 2 in the car, and he's up 2. His teammate, Coffee Sipper, well, what a start from him. We saw him for the first time last week in Canada. Now up 5 places into 6. Very nice place for that. And then Mark, he's up 1. Squid's up 1, but he's coming into the pit lane. We've got a few drivers in. I'm assuming this is to serve damage. Both BWTs. We can't see those front wings, but there is going to be a double stack here. Williams, he's up 2, but he's going to jump both of these drivers in the pit lane. He had a bit of an issue in the first corner. Back row as well. Here's a wing for Squid. Lovell, he's just retired in the pit lane there. But Squid is getting that new front wing. A new set of presumably wet compound tyres. And there it is.
That was intense. That was very, very intense. And yeah, it doesn't seem like they will have to serve the mandatory pit stop on the wets. But still, it will be probably risky to go to the end. I think the last time I remember a full wet race like this, I think it was last season on Silverstone. And the guys who didn't pit really suffered at the end with those full wet compounds. So we will see what happens here in France on F1, a very high degradation zone on sector 3. On the front left can be major issues, having punctures. We saw that on Tier 1 on Thursday, and we can probably see that again.
Yeah, it depends how long these guys try and extend these wet tyres for. Apparently, according to Freeware, the mandatory pit stop is removed with the wet weather conditions, so I'm not quite sure where we stand on that one. Neon saying that there's a storm coming in 5 minutes, so we could potentially see even worse weather than what we're experiencing right now. For us in the commentary booth, we're nice and dry, but those drivers out there, they will not be wanting to hear that one. So, well, it's just a waiting game, Alex. How bad can this rain get? Well, for us, it can only get better because this has been one very, very dramatic start to the F2 race. We're waiting on Squid now to rejoin the pack, and I think that might cause the safety car to go around once more. It's a little bit late to call it in now, I think. But very dramatic start. Still 13 laps to go in this first race. We've got a sprint race after it. It'll be a little bit shorter. But my goodness, what a start to this race. And we'll just have to see how it develops in the coming few laps. The safety car is going around again, but it will be in at the end of this one because Squid, well, unless he spins under safety car, will have caught the back of this grid.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Brainsteel will really have the pace here on conditions. 1 second was the margin between him and the second driver on qualifying. Very, very good qualifying for the Italian. He's very good on these F2 cars, and he has proven before. He won on Canada on the sprint race on... Well, it was... Oh, there's a spin on their safety car. I think that's Mark. He will lose some places. He will fall last, but... Well, not last, because Squid has still to catch the queue, but it was very important for him. He lost it on braking at that speed on turn 1. But yeah, talking about Brainsteel, he had a very good win doing a double overtake on last lap on Canada on the sprint race. and it was on wet conditions, but still on dry tires. It was very difficult to manage, and he did it perfectly. So very, very good driver on this F2. Probably you can see him just going away from all this chaos.
Yeah, we've seen a few drivers sort of stand out over the week. Some people coming back week after week for this F2, and they sort of become veterans, if you will, in a community event. Obviously, anyone could join, but here 15 drivers, so plenty of spaces to bring back those people who want to come in week after week, and the points do get tallied up. It's not as serious as, you know, a week in, week out league racing, but still, bragging rights well and truly on the table for those who are counting the points. And, well, Squid has rejoined the rear of this safety car queue. It did just cross the timing line for Sector 3, but it is a fairly long track. It's a fairly long Sector 3. So fingers crossed, because of that, it can get called in halfway through the sector. And I think that that will be the case. Unless, of course, this rain is so bad that we need a safety car. We don't. Safety car is in this lap, ladies and gentlemen. Green flag racing will be resuming, and Brainstew will be the one leading the charge off of the restart.
Yeah, Brainstew will be now controlling the pace after a safety car was called in on this lap. We'll see if he warms up those tires, well, how much he does, because I think he really needs to keep it warm. Very difficult track on traction and more on these conditions. Now the safety car will be in at this moment, so we will see when he decides to put the throttle down.
Yep, still nice and tidy. The safety car is in that pit lane. But when is he in a full throttle? When is he going to try and catch the rest of this grid sleeping? He's coming out of the final corner now, still half throttle. He needs to make sure he doesn't spin either. He's increasing it. It looks like he has gone. Let's have a look further back. Richie is still swiggling all over the place. His teammate, though, Neon, much more composed restart. He is already side by side with Hennes for P4. He's ahead right now, but Hennes has the inside line. Neon a little bit later on the brakes. Where is Hennes in all of this? He's just behind the high-tech driver. He's almost tapping the rear. Just about leaving the space. Neon's in a big tank slapper. Manages to avoid Hennes. Hennes doing well to avoid contact there. Can Coffee Sipper have a look up the inside down into turn 3? He can't. Maka, he's had a problem coming down through turn 4. He's off the track. He's allowed Richie past despite the fact that Richie was looking all over the place. He's got a lot of pace in that car. Somehow that sort of uncontrollable driving style is actually proving to be fairly fast here, Alex.
Yeah, Brainstew really pushing right now, almost a second. We will not have DRS, of course, look at these conditions, but still that margin to cut the slip from is very good. Now Hennes trying to have a look on Maka. Maka had, well, went wide, really wide on turn 3 and 4. Then Richie took the place. Now Hennes really, really close, but Neon as well.
I gotta say, Alex, coming through 8 and 9 there, Brainstew just looks so much more composed than the rest of these drivers. You know, Maka didn't look too bad, Hennes didn't look too bad, but Brainstew, it looked like he was driving in the dry compared to these guys. His car looks so planted right now. Uni Virtuosi really gripping the road. Neon, right on the rear, Hennes, I think he might have tapped it. He's got a big slide going on. He's managed to catch it, but it's...
No, not anymore.
No, he's on a skid pan now. He is in the wall. He's managed to not retire the car, but he's all the way down at the bottom.
Oh, side by side. It was Mark on the outside, sorry, of Eric on turn 12. Very good move from him. They had Williams ahead of them, almost spinning. He saved the car, but they didn't dodge the wheels. Now Eric, everyone going super wide. Squid going to the pits. They had damage on the front end. Now Neon has to recover a lot, and Brain's still setting the fastest lap as well. So Squid going to the pits, and of course no change on tires, I will say.
Yeah, no surprises there, and no surprises that Brainstew took the fastest lap. Look at the gap between him and Richie. Neon picks off P11. Obviously, that's Squid in the pit lane, but it looks like he might have got past Eric here as well. Or is... No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong car. That is, of course, Mark. The ART and the high-tech, very similar looking. Williams now in the SMP racing car. He doesn't look like he's going particularly quickly either, and these three, they're locked and loaded in this battle. Everyone else really starting to space out already. This rain causing the pace difference to be very, very prevalent. Can Mark find a way past now as they come out of turn 7? He's got a lot of pace. He's tapped the rear. He hasn't found the grip he needs to get out of the way. of
Yeah,
Williams' car.
I think he got too much speed on the exit, and now you can probably look at that straight speed. He will dive on the inside of turn 8. Williams will leave the space there. Oh, he will actually think he almost went wide there, but no. Mark will have that place now up into P8. Very good. Overtake for the ARC driver, and Eric just behind Williams will try to do the same. He's now pushing on the slipstream into turn 8. Very, very close.
Yeah, all three of these guys, they're pretty much the closest gap on track. Moen, maybe he's dropping off the back of Coffee Sipper right now, and he's actually losing time to back row behind him as well. So I have to see what happens for the Welshman there. But as it stands, there's a big slide from Mark. Manages to catch it. Does Williams take advantage of this? No, instead he goes deep, actually, through turn 12.
I think Eric will try it. I think Eric will try it now. Yes, on the exit of turn 12, going to turn 13. The Spaniard on the outside. It's a very huge extend on track. He will actually understeer and lose that place. He, of course, doesn't have the grip there on the wets, and William will retain 9th place. Now, at the moment, Moen, I think he lost the place with Coffee Sipper, or is he very close?
I think Coffee Sipper's just lost a lot of time here to the Trident behind. We'll have to see. Moen, usually in the BWT, hasn't been able to secure that car today, and maybe for the best. They haven't been doing particularly well this race. Squid in 12th, Lovell out of this. And Squid, he's also used up all of his wet tyres. Eric looking up the inside of Williams into turn 3, not going to find it there. He has got Neon on the outside, though. Neon worming his way up the inside of 4. Can he find this? He does. That's actually 5, but now through 6, he is well and truly ahead of the Univirtuosi. Nicely done from the Dutchman.
Yeah, very good move from Neon. Look at that pace. He's unleashing it right now on the slipstream of Williams. He will try to move on the same point that Mark did. Oh, yeah, it will be easy as you like. And now Williams doesn't have anything to defend against that move. Neon up into P9, and Eric still, without overtaking Williams, is really costing him a lot of time, it seems.
Absolutely. There's still, a fair few laps to go in this one. We're on lap 6 of 15, and these drivers, well, it's still anyone's game, because it's a very apparent that it's easy to make a mistake in these conditions in these cars. So we'll have to just make sure that everyone keeps their head level and they keep themselves pointing in the right direction, because that really is the way to get points here. And you got to remember there's a sprint race after this one as well. Those top 8, that's the position you want to be in. Mark right now in 8th place. He's got a very hungry looking Neon hunting him down, though. And Neon, if he could get 8th start from pole position, that would be a dream come true for him, because he'd really need that to claw some points back here over the weekend.
Eric will try the dive on turn 15. I think there was minor contact on the exit. Eric losing the traction, but almost touching Williams. Really close right now. Trying to... Oh, there was a contact, I think, probably teleport from Williams, but I'm not sure. But Eric had to avoid that. I don't know if he has damage.
Well, very nicely done to avoid spinning it. It looks like that front wing is intact, so it should be good to continue on in that Univirtuosi. They're side by side again, coming down now towards turn 3. It's Eric around the outside. What a move. Williams on the curb. You don't want to be there in the wet. Those curbs get really slippery. Manages, again, these two, they may not be the fastest on these kids, but they've been doing very well to catch these cars, keep them just going where they need them to go. I say, as Eric has a little bit of a wobble. Could this open the top for Williams? Pass through. Now out of turn 7, he got the wobble through turn 6. The camera lagging behind a little bit. Williams now not able to capitalize. Eric hangs on to P10 for the time being.
Neon on the outside of turn 9, he will try it. Doesn't seem like he will find traction there, but Mark will stay on P8. Neon closing the gap. I think it was 1.6 on last lap, and he catched now on lap 7. Meanwhile, Bryn's still setting fastest lap back to back, and he's really extending that gap. Neon very close on turn 10. He leaves less than the AEST driver. He'll try it on the inside of turn 11. We will see if he can find the grip there. It's side by side still between both drivers. The high-tech driver will be very close on wheels. It's Neon on the outside. Oh, he actually has to correct the steering wheel, and he will have contact, but now he will yield. I think he thought that move was a little bit illegal from the Dutch. I think we saw that before today, but now Neon will try to catch again Mark.
Yeah, Dutch drivers overtaking off the track. We don't want to be seeing too much of that here, but Here we go. Mark really under a lot of pressure, and he's doing well to fend it off as well. And as it stands, oh, Neon not finding any traction out of the final corner. My goodness, a just huge amount of wheel spin there. Still soldiering on, but he
saved it.
He did. We've seen him, recover one thing and then spin into the wall after a good save. He's kept it going this time, though. And he's still well within a second of Mark, but obviously no DRS to play for here. And we'll just have to wait and see. Back row, he's catching Moen, who is dropping off the rear of Coffee Sipper. Neon's still braving it on the curbs as well, so very, very interesting here. Back row really catching Moen at a rapid rate of knots right now.
Neon as well. Now, oh, what a save from Neon again. He has to correct. I love that steering wheel. Now, back row, I think he lost time out of turn 6 and 7, as well as Neon did. So I don't think the DRCR is costing them, but probably a lot of spray into that cockpit for the drivers.
Yeah, visibility will be limited here in France. You could just see the conditions. It's pretty poor. We haven't seen a safety car to prevent this racing from continue, so it's not the worst that we could see. Neon did suggest that there could be a storm in 5 minutes, and that would be the worst weather that the game could throw at you, but it's not going to be the case, it would seem. We're on lap 8 now. That was on about lap 2 that report came in. Whether it's just coming a little late, well, that's something that we won't be able to tell until it either happens or it doesn't. Eric, he picks up the first 3-second time penalty of the session, and Neon, well, he's just really sliding right now in
back row
car.
Mark as well, and Neon will try to take the place, but slides as well. 3 drivers sliding on the same place now. This is very, very tricky, and you can see it on these onboards how much they have to correct to keep the car on track. Neon, Mark went wide on turn 11, then went wide on turn 12 as well as back row, and Neon tried to do the best line to gain time. And now look at the traction out of Neon. He will be side by side a lot before the braking zone, and back row now I think giving a slipstream to Neon. Very good overtake for the Dutch driver, and now he's on P8 and provisional pole for the sprint race.
Yeah, we were saying that P8 very, very important here. It really gives someone a shot at redeeming themselves in the sprint race if they don't have the feature race that they would want. These guys all closing down a little bit now. Back row here, just ahead of Neon. He was catching Moen, who's sort of wound Coffee Sipper back in. I think Coffee Sipper might have had an issue or two. He's dropped a lot of time to Hennes, and he's dropped a lot of time to Moen as well. Neon, though, looking for it on back row. He doesn't want to get caught on the rear of this MP Motorsport car. He hasn't. He's done it very nicely. If he's got the pace here, he should have him down into turn 8. It looks like he will do side by side. The MP Motorsport car, the high-tech driver. Here we go. Neon up into P7. Back row's coming at him late on the brakes. Can he hold it? He can't. Neon is through. Back row's in 8th, and now under increasing pressure from Mark as well behind. Mark right now in that ART looking for a way past. Isn't able to capitalize straight out of turn 9, and is now running a little bit faster down towards 10. You can see there, though, having to brake, having to lift off, but he's got through faster than back row. He's still closing on that MP Motorsport car. Squid picks up a 3-second time penalty. The penalties now starting to play a little bit of a role in this race. They won't play a huge role, I don't think, in the end results, but it's particularly not for points. But Neon, he has to watch out a little bit. Brings to another fastest lap for him, a 1:54.6. Does that mean the track's drying? Possibly, but it won't dry completely by the end of this race. Only
Neon,
5 laps to go.
Neon on the outside of Moen on 14 now. I think it's safe for turn 15. Very good move from Neon, and now he'll try to catch his fellow man. Or he will, I don't know, because he lost traction there. And now Moen, he will be trying to attack. Neon covers it. I think it was very hard to defend that one, but Moen will stay behind Neon, and Neon will try to catch Coffee Sipper as soon as he can.
Yeah, Mark, now he collects a penalty as well, and I think he already had one, so that might be 6 seconds for him. But we're going to keep our eyes glued on the action right now, because these guys, they may not be in for a huge haul of points, but points still are, at the end of the day, what everyone is racing for, as well as, of course, those immaculate bragging rights. Hennes is also doing a pretty good job of sticking to Maka. 5 laps left. We'll have to see whether the Carlin driver can find a way past. Neon again. Now he's looking at Coffee Sipper this time. A bit of a slide on exit of turn 7, but he's got a nice run of exit despite the fact that he did have that little loss of traction. Little loss of grip. Not going to hurt him too much, though, as they come down towards turn 8. Coffee Sipper making sure his presence is known on the outside, but not able to defend into Ruvela's car.
Whoa, Neon sideways on the exit of turn 9. He actually had to save again. He's doing really really a good show of how to save the car on these weather conditions. Now Mo very close on Coffee Sipper. He has to lift and brake for turn 10. And now Mark will try to back it since very close. But he will not try to move, at least right now in turn 11.
Well, it's a tricky corner to overtake on in the dry, let alone in these treacherous wet conditions. We've also got Henners. He's still gearing down on Maka for P3. He's really caught up in the last lap or so. And here goes Mark around the outside of back row. I wasn't expecting it, but through 13, it's an almost invisible corner. Back row defends around the outside of 14. And he's doing a pretty good job at it right now. Neon, it looks like he's having a little bit of an issue up the road. He's still ahead of Coffee Sipper. Back row still side by side with Mark. And there's a little bit of contact, almost a spin. Manages to get ahead. Back row. Mark backs out. They avoid spinning. They're still side by side. Coming down into turn 1 now. Who's going to come out on top? Mark is ahead. And just ahead he is. Down through the exit of turn 2. Very nicely done. Kept it as clean as I think they could do. And Moen, Coffee Sipper, they're nice and close. Henners as well now. Well, he hasn't had a pretty good exit out of 6 or 7. And he's dropped a lot of time actually to Maka, but he was very close a moment ago.
Yeah, very good fights here. Now Mark will try to stay on that group. Coffee Sipper really doing a favor to their driver Moen now with a very good exit out of turn 7. He will try to stick there on the slipstream of the Carlin driver, but it doesn't seem likely an overtake here, or he will try it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like, or yes, he's side by side now on the braking zone of turn 8. On the outside is Coffee Sipper, very close on the tires. I don't know if that was a warning for the Trident driver, and now he'll try on the exit of turn 9. Side by side, what a move from Mo when he is up into P6, and Mark will try to do the same with a double slipstream here on the run into turn 10. He will try to find the outside. I don't know if he has any space there. Coffee Sipper really slow on that turn 10 apex. So now Mark will try to do the switch back. Now on the inside, Moen really slow on the entry. And he will try to maximize the exit. Now Coffee Sipper really losing time on that apex, and back row will try to put the move, and then he will stick it there on turn 11 and turn 12. Mark really close on Moen as well.
Coffee Sipper is having a real tough time right now. He's still sliding out of 12. Loses the position to Eric as well. He is having a monumental struggle. Mark now opening the door wide for back row, who's going to try and have a look on the inside of 14, giving him the outside for 15. And we've seen a lot of moves in the dry. The outside line sometimes provides a bit more traction. Is the same true here in the full wet conditions? Not quite, but back row still has a brilliant run here. Down towards turn 1. Up the inside he goes, but he's not able to make the lunge. Mark was just too far ahead. Nice, sensible driving from back row, who now a huge burst of speed. It's almost as if he just strapped a rocket to the back of that car out of turn 2. A really nice run, but again, not able to get it into the corner and lunge up the inside. Impossible. Really playing it safe for these conditions, and you love to see that sort of sensible driving. Henners, we haven't been at the front of this grid for a little while, but now he's looking up the inside of Maka, and he has got P3 for the time being. Maka defending late on the brakes around the outside, though. Can the Carlin car find a way past? Henners now looking for it around the outside. Picks up a 3-second time penalty for his struggles, and that could be the end of this race for him. He might not find himself on the podium after that one, because Maka is still hot on his heels. Mark, Moen, they've exchanged. There's a big exchange going on. They're through 8 and 9 as well. Let's see what the Trident can do. Can he find a way back past? There's a little bit of contact between them, I think. Moen's off the track, and back row is going to find it past both of them, potentially. He's side by side with Moen. He's already passed Mark. Eric's not too far back on this, but Moen is ahead. Coming down into turn 10. Back row, though, much later on the brakes, much braver than the Trident driver. And it looks like we might be going 3 wide again this time, though. It's through turn, 12. And Moen's on the inside. There's a car off to the wide. That's Eric in the Univirtuosi.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, who is that? Neon? He's going so slowly.
Yeah, Neon lost a lot of pace. I think he probably spun out of turn 11, and now they are on the fight. Look at this train from B5 to P10. They're all fighting, and we are 3 laps to go here on France on this future race. Look at the dive from Eric on turn 15. Neon will try to do the better exit there. Mark really pushed off by Moen, but it seems like he will try to do a better exit. Eric as well, just following them side by side, Moen and Mark, who will try to break later. It seems Moen on the outside line and the better line for turn 1. Mark will just a lot behind, and Eric loses the breaking point, and he will have damage. He will spin, and Neon can't avoid the contact there. Eric with the bad luck, and very late on breaks, just smashes the back of Mark.
Yeah, really tough here. Neon now getting very close to the rear of Coffee. Moen, sorry, he just about saves it. Eric, well, he's got 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, and well, that's game over for him there. Squid 3 seconds of penalties as well. Neon into the back of Moen, who's going particularly slowly through, coming out of turn 6 into 7. They go for P7. This battle is as well. Coffee Sipper, well, his saving grace here, Alex, might be that he has no penalties. The two cars in front that we see side by side here, Moen and Neon, they've got penalties. Mark has penalties as well. So they could now start to play a role in this race as we come to the tail end of things. Neon up into P7, Moen into P8, and we are in the dying embers of the feature race. But if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, this is Misfits Formula 2, rounding out the week where we've had a lot of action here around France already. And, well, Squid looks like he's had a bit of an issue out of the last corner. That BWT is not having a good time whatsoever, but we will be having a sprint race after this one, so don't go anywhere. As we come onto the penultimate lap, it's Brainstew leading the charge, 13.7 seconds, Alex, ahead of Jeffrey Ritchie, aka Ace.
Yeah, very good job from him. Now Maka very close on Henners. As you said, 2 laps to go here. He improved to half a second, his personal best, Maka. So now he'll try to push. He doesn't need to. He has the podium on his pocket. 3-second time penalty for Henners. So he'll not try. He doesn't need to push that much to get that place. Coffee Sipper, though, he really needs to, because he has a very good traction out of turn 15. He will try to do the move now side by side. Moen and Coffee Sipper on the best line to break on turn 1. He will try to break later, because Moen right now, it seems like he has more straight line speed. Moen very early on the brakes, and Coffee Sipper will have an easy overtake on the outside. Now on the inside of turn 2, let's see if Moen has a better traction. And yes, he will have a better traction. The Trident driver tried the move on turn 3. They are side by side. Unicorn as well. Again, he's braking really early, and Coffee Sipper will have that place. At the moment, he has a puncture. Moen with a puncture.
Well, we've seen it all in Tier 1 with the punctures, and there you go. You can see it with a little bit of some sort of graphical glitch as well, ghosting that tyre, a little bit of artifacting there. But that front left is punctured, and that is going to hurt Moen here. He's probably just going to try and limp it to the end, I imagine. Squid's really far back. Williams is really far back. He will lose the position to Eric unless Eric suffers the same fate as well.
Oh, what a save from Mark out of turn 9. Again, Neon style that save, and he will stay on P6. He has 6 seconds worth of time penalty. Now 9. Oh, that will cost massively for him. Probably Coffee Sipper can gain this place as well from Mark. And Henry, I think he has a puncture as well. I was gonna say he was losing a lot of pace. He has a puncture on the front left as well. So he will try to carry 13 seconds, and now he will try to do the heroics as Hamilton did on Silverstone. We will see how he managed to do this, but he has 3-second time penalty. So back row really needs to close 10 seconds more or less at the moment.
Well, that's going to be particularly challenging. You don't want to pick up a penalty yourself. And he's got Mark all over his gearbox. So, punctures coming through thick and fast. Moen does indeed drop the position to Eric. How many more are we going to see, though? Punctures could come out left, right, and center. Everyone, with the exceptions of Williams and Squid, on the same age as Eric. Very slow out of the final corner. Getting past Moen. Has he got a puncture as well?
I think he has a lot of damage on that front end. He had damage when he rear-ended, I think it was Coffee Sipper on turn 1. And now he had another one because he had contact with the sidepod of Moen, because Moen had a puncture, and I think that car was really unstable. Now Eric will try to push to create that gap of 10 seconds. He has 13 seconds of penalties, so that will be very dangerous for his points. But at the moment, Mark very close on the back row.
Well, here we go. Down through into turns 8 and 9 for the last time in the feature race. And this is for P6 or P5, sorry, but obviously back row penalty free right now. If Mark can force one though, or at least try and just put him under enough pressure to get an error out of him. Neon sliding all over the rear of back row. What is his setup? I don't know if he's running a dry setup, didn't have a wet one to hand. But he has been sliding all over the place, Alex. He's really struggling to keep this high-tech under control. We've been watching these battles. We haven't been watching this man, but what a race it's been from Brainstew. 17.5 seconds ahead of everyone else. We're going to go back with everyone else who's still racing right here. Everyone else just continuously going about it, but in a class of his own in this first race, Brainstew wins in P1. Richie picks up P2. Maka, he will take P3 here in the Prima Motorsport car. Henners, despite the puncture, what an effort to bring that car home in P4. And I think he should just about stay there.
Yeah, that was a very good job. He has 3-second time penalty. It won't cost any position. Neon now very close on back row. He will try the move. Back row will jump into P5. Neon P6. Mark P7 at the moment. We'll see when Coffee Sipper crosses the line, but I think it will stay there. P7 for Coffee Sipper, 1/10 was the difference. So he'll be second on the sprint race grid. Eric will cross the line on P9, but I think he will lose that position on Moen with a puncture. As we remember, Moen on P9, Eric on P10, the last of the drivers who will take a point here. Williams now struggling on sector 3 with that understeer on this rain. And now Williams will cross P11. Squid was the only driver who was lapped. Lovell, Jones, and Psycho having bad luck with that spin on the first lap.
Wow, what a race that was, the wet weather. We love to see it, and it really was a very, very dramatic opening race. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will have the sprint race with you in just a moment. Back row. He picks up driver of the day, and well, he was certainly involved in a lot of overtaking and a lot of battling, and well, let's see that podium. Brainstew, what a drive from this man right here. He may not have made the positions the back row gained, but he did control the race from the front. He probably barely saw anyone else in this one. Maybe when he lapped Squid, but that would have been just about it. Ace Ritchie there behind him in P2. A strong finish from him, and I do believe it's Maka in third place. But my goodness, what a race. A very dramatic start to the evening here in F2. It was indeed Maka in third place, but Brainstew wins from pole position to P1. Richie clings on to P2, where he started this grid. Maka from fourth to third. Henners, sixth to fourth, and with 3 seconds and a puncture, nothing will stop him from picking up those 12 points. Back row from 10th to 5th. That's what gets you driver of the day here. 10 points for him in the MP Motorsport. Neon, third, drops down to 6th, but he looked very unstable. That setup really not helping him in the wet. Coffee Sipper, another great drive from him. 11th to 7th. Mark in 8th. Moen in 9th, both holding station in their respective starting positions. Eric, he dropped from 7th to 10th to round up the point scoring. Then Williams, he finished 11th. Squid finished a lap down in P12. Then Lovell, Jones, and Psycho, the 3 drivers, retiring from that one. And now, Alex, it's time to do it all over again, just a slightly shorter distance.
And dry conditions, that's a big change we can see here. It's just dry, the no clouds, it seems, at least on my screen at the moment, just facing here the pit stop. So it will be a no pit stop race. Well, that's the plan, to not pit on that sprint race. It's of course faster. The pit lane is very, very long and very, very slow. So we will see what these drivers can do, because the future race was really intense, and I hope to see this again now with DRS. So Unicorn, take us on the start.
Yeah, well, it's going to be hard to the end, preferably for these drivers, but are we going to see a puncture again? Again, another prediction in the chat there. Will the pole sitter win this race? Well, here we go. It's Mark who came 8th in the last one. A lot of drivers disembodied, it would seem, but Coffee Sipper, what a launch off the line for the Carlin car. His teammate Henners has had a pretty strong start, as well as they barrel down towards turn 1. It looks like back row, he's getting... Well, it's Jeffrey Ritchie and Maka, exchanging for B6. Maka really trying to squeeze his way through.
Eric lost it on turn 2. It will be a reverse, and it seems like a a reset to track, and now Neon on the inside of Coffee Sipper as well. Now Ritzy on Brinsteel. Brinsteel losing a lot of places, it seems. Now on the outside line of turn 4. Now the Italian will try to remake those positions. Psycho loses places as well.
Yeah, you can see there Psycho. Squid on the outside, off the track, and off the track overtakes the sort of the main headline of today. As Brainstew Maka there overtaking on track. Brainstew up the inside into P7. Mark, Coffee Sipper, exchanging Coffee Sipper a little bit slow through 8 and 9. Been overtaken by Mark and his teammate after a lightning start. Jeffrey and Brainstew getting past the back row. He's not had a brilliant start either. Brainstew, what a powerful start from him. He won that first race by a landslide. Is he as good
Maka.
in the wet weather? Maka, what a move! He just came past Moen like a rocket. Very, very strong.
That was amazing. And now Squid on Psycho. Psycho understeering on turn 11. I don't know if he has damage on that front end, but it seems like he had as well some issues on turn 6, a very high downforce zone. Now Squid going really well in turn 12, and now Lobel will try to do the move on traction. Both BWT drivers trying to make move faster, and now Jones on Williams. No, he will just understeer into turn 14. He will lose a lot of places, and now he will be, I think, second last. Probably almost a crash there with Psycho. I don't know if it was a lag issue on my screen, but now Brainsteel really close on Richie, and now he will try to go on the inside. No, he tries the outside. Richie will close the door, and Brainsteel will try to do a better move out of the chicane.
Yeah, Coffee Sipper's on the rear of this as well. He hasn't had the best first lap. He had a brilliant start, but the first lap battling hasn't gone his way. Brainstew now late on the brakes compared to Richie. These two both on the podium last time out. Richie absolutely smashing the turn marker. Coffee Sipper's looking at all of this, and he's trying to find a way through. Can he get Brainstew on the outside? He's off the track. He's struggling to get back on, but he does get back on, and he is still behind that Univirtuosi, who's still behind Richie for P4. Psycho's had an issue. Someone else has had an issue as well. There's a couple of cars off the track here. Psycho's off. Eric's off as well.
Yeah, had an issue. Now Neon on the inside of Mark on turn 8. A little bit of contact there on the wheels. Now Coffee Sipper gaining places. Oh, he just jumped the chicane. He lost the braking point and he had to go straight. And on that, on the runoff area on turn 8 and 9. So very bad for him, because now he lost a lot of time. And Neon now on P1, losing another place, because that exit on turn 9 is Coffee Sipper, and Mo will try the move to go up into P8.
Yeah, they go side by side through this long sweeping right-hander behind them. Williams, Jones, Lovell as well to a lesser extent. Let's hop back down in. Nothing going too much right now. Brainstew still all over Richie there for P4. He really wants to get past here. He doesn't want to get held up behind the man who was behind him in the first race, but it wasn't close there. He doesn't want it to be close now, but Guan Yu Zhou's Cha struggling to find the pace out of the final corner. Down towards turn 1. Squid's had an issue. Well, he's getting absolutely mugged. There's so many cars going down into turn 1, Alex.
Yeah, Squid lost the rear and Jones dived on the inside. Then he lost it on traction, smashed with Jones. I don't think he did damage, but they just collided and lost a lot of time. Then Lovell went from nowhere and took, I think, 3 places on one move. That was amazing from Lovell, and Williams as well taking a pair of them. Jones will try to do the comeback again, but Squid had major issues on that last corner. Jones seems really, really close in the gap on Williams. He actually touches the rear part of that Prema racing car. And now Squid will try to do a better traction on turn 6. We will see if he is able to do it. Now back row very close on Brainsteel. He has the DRS and Brainsteel will fall back.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Brainstew's in that car or not. It looks like he might have been disconnected from this lobby. Fingers crossed he can get his way back in it, but right now that is not going to help his pace at all. Williams, Jones, they've exchanged. Squid just behind them as well. Always looking for an opportunistic move. There goes Brainstew's connection, completely cutting him out of the session, and that is so unfortunate for the feature race winner. He also got pole, so still on for a nice finish here. 29 points to his name already this evening, but he wanted to add to it more here in the sprint race. But you can see now the gap is closing big time. But it's Lovell on the rear of moment. Henners, yeah. He's side by side with Richie. And Richie very wide there, Alex.
Yeah, he went very wide. They had contact the front of Henner, and Richie there on turn 12. Now Richie had to take the runoff area. Now Brainsteel, I think, reconnecting in the game on a few moments. So we hope to see him. He has 4 points for pole position, 2 for fastest lap, and 25 for winning. So it's 31 at the moment for Brainsteel. and Neon just extending the gap. Henry really close on the back of Richie.
Yeah, looking for it down into turn 1. Not going to find it there, though. And Lovell, well, he is close to the rear of Moen. The Trident car really going to be feeling that pressure from the BWT race lab that we so usually see him in. Jones not too far off the back of this one either. Up the inside goes the Dane. Can he find it, though, around the outside? Lovell. What a move from Jones. Really nicely executed. Lovell's had an issue. He's had a big issue. And he is off well and truly into the off track. And as a result, he's lost a lot of positions. But that cannot detract from Jones's move there. Really nicely done from him. Henners, Richie, side by side again. Going down into turn 8 and 9 this time. And Henners just failing to stay ahead of Richie. But he rejoins the track ahead of the high-tech. I wonder whether Richie is going to have a word with him about that one. The timing tower has disappeared as a result of Brainstew rejoining the session. We can still see visibly the Squid and Williams are very, very close between the two of them.
Oh, Richie and Henry as well. That's very close on turn 11. Richie will stay ahead again on that turn, but Henry seems like he has better traction. And another exchange. Now it's Jones on the inside of Moen. Moen really losing that downforce there on turn 11. It seems like Jones is really pushing at this moment.
Yeah, Jones, very impressive run of pace coming out of that car. We'll just see how long he can continue with that. Moen, Squid, two people we see fairly regularly here in F2. Who's that? Someone's had an issue. There is Richie doing a lot of spins. He's trying to get out of the way, but he's causing more chaos. His collective brain stew. There's a lot of cars being collected in this one. Squid is taking advantage of Moen's slow pace through there. I wonder whether the stewards are going to have a little look at that one, whether he overtook under yellow flags. It looks like he might have realized and has let Moen back past here. The BWT driver letting him through. But let's get the telemetry and everything re-enabled here because it all disappeared for some reason. But there we are. We're back. I just forgot to enable it. Jones, Brainstew up the inside into turn 3 they go.
Brainstew has damage.
Brainstew does, yeah, from Richie on that corner. I think he just got collected there, but Jones, he's side by side.
That's very close on turn 6 now. Brainstew.
It's just about managed to keep it clean, and behind them was that Squid and Moen, I think, or maybe Squid and Williams, sorry. But Brainstew, Jones, they're going back at it down towards turn 8. There's so much action going here in F2 this evening. Brainstew gets 7-7.
Richie loses the braking point. He has to avoid because he had no wing. He loses the braking point. He had to avoid turn 8 and not colliding. Oh, again. It's a lot of action out of turn 9 like we saw in tier 1. Then free were taking a DNF there. It doesn't seem like any major issue now. Richie without any wing, I think, on that front end, or at least a lot of downforce there. And now braking for turn 11. Look at Eric trying to move on Williams. Williams very close. It's almost 3 wide on turn 11, Unicorn.
Well, someone's end plate went absolutely flying. They're not quite sure whose, but there's so many cars and there's so little space because the density of cars on track right now is absolutely huge. There's 4 cars here coming out of turn 12 through 13. They are all side by side. You've got Slavell there just hanging at the back. Eric Williams, Eric's ahead right now. Moen's dropping back in all of this. The Trident is on the inside through the final corner. Can he hold it? You've got Eric ahead. Williams, a little bit of a better exit. I think he's going to try and take them both. He gets Moen. Can he get Eric down into turn 1? You've got Moen there coming back around the outside. Lavell's trying to find some space to find his way through. Neither of them successful. Moen holds on to P12 and Eric is taking advantage of this and running away. And I don't blame him. That is a lot of cars. A lot of overtaking and a lot of pressure for those drivers back there. Brainstew is dropping off the back of Maka a little bit, but this damage really not helping him do so. He's still got DRS. He'll still be able to cling on to the rear of this Prima Motorsport. Can he get past, though? He's been showing impressive pace. He's got DRS. And here goes Brainstew in the Uni Virtuosi. Granuzo's car. It may be injured, but it's by no means slow. The winner of the feature race.
Lovell, it's 3 wide to turn 8. It seems that Williams will try to move at the same time that Lovell is doing a double overtake. It's 3 wide on turn 8. Now Moen will lose 2 places and will move from Lovell. Williams will spin on turn 8. I think he was clipped on side pod of one
Lovell's
of the drivers, and Lovell as well.
Hit the wall. Lucky he didn't cause a retirement there for himself, but there is damage on that BWT. No safety car either to write home about.
This is super intense, and now Squid is very close on Richie. As we know, Richie has damage after that contact on turn 15. Very bad luck for Global now after that double overtake didn't went the way he really thought it was going to be. So now the Brain's still trying to re-extend that gap because Maka is falling and Jones really wants that move both with DRS, so it will be difficult now for Jones to have that move. Squid otherwise with Ritchie vulnerable with that damage and no DRS for the Dutch driver, and now oh look at this move from Squid, it's on the inside.
Well, his teammates just retired in the pit lane, but here goes Squid. There's side by side, little bit of contact between himself and Richie there. Eric not too far behind either. Richie really been struggling in this one. Williams picks up another 3-second time penalty. There's penalties all across the board here. This could play well into Henner's hands, back row's hands, the likes of Brainstew Maka as well. All penalty free. Squid's penalty free as well, but he is down in 10th right now, so he's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to score any serious points. Jones and Maka, they're side by side. Maka, well, he's well and truly behind Jones as they come down into turn 8. You can see there, Jones comfortably ahead in the ART as they come through the chicane. We're just over halfway through lap 7 of 11 here. Well, I guess that's way more than halfway through, actually, if you do the maths on that one, but not too long left in the sprint race. Well, there's a little bit of lull in the action. Thank you to everyone watching along at home, and also a big shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. If you're looking for sim racing rigs, motion sims, that kind of equipment, be sure to check them out. They got a whole range of options for all budgets, so check them out in the chat and the panels down below. But Alex, back to the action, and well, the action sort of petered out a little bit. Everyone sort of calmed down for a moment.
Yeah, now Coffee Sipper on the DRS zone, as well as Maka on Jones. Squid on Richie and Eric as well on both of them. So it seems like Eric doesn't have that much damage. Probably Squid missing some portion, but now he will have DRS. I don't know if he has the run to turn 1 to do the move. But now Maka,
he does have the run. And what a run that was, but Jones isn't having any of it. He is on fire through this first section, Alex. He's been really impressive through there.
Yeah, as well as Squid, who's very close on the back of Rich. He will try to move on turn 3. He will, yes. They are side by side and a late braking zone for the BWC driver. And now Richie on the outside. He will try to do a better traction. They're out of turn 5, now into turn 6, but he will understeer with that damage, and Squid almost losing the rear, but Eric will be the one who is gaining a lot. Richie will break on turn 7, it seems, and now that will cost a lot on the run on Eric, but Richie now has a very good push to do the overtake, but Broker at the same time, but I need to focus on one at the moment. It will be Richie and Eric trying the double overtake on the inside of turn 8. I think there's contact, but not major, not any mistake. Oh, now Eric, I think he closed the door on Squid, and he was on the inside, and now he'll spin, but will recover that car. Oh, that was very intense, and now back row as well, and Brain still exchanging positions. I think Coffee Sipper as well gained the place on back row. I don't know if back row has any damage, and yes, he has, missing that front right end plate. Very unlucky for him.
Yeah, he's missing out there. There was a little bit of contact between him and Coffee Sipper coming down the straight, but that was on the left-hand side of back row's car, so that's not what's caused the damage there. But it is what's costing him the time and the positions, like you said. Coffee Sipper and Brains do this, but in exchange for the lead, Mark and Neon into P1 right now. Can Mark fend him off into turn 1? He can't. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. It's 3 seconds for the pair of them, 3 seconds for everyone, bar Coffee Sipper and Williams. They've got 6 seconds to their name. There's a yellow flag. It's Eric, it's Squid. What's happening between the two of them? Well, there goes Eric. He's rejoining from behind the pit wall. Moen's in. Is he worried about the punctures? We saw punctures in the first race. We saw punctures in Tier 1. So both wet and dry punctures. We've seen them here around France. Alex, can these hearts make it to the end?
I think they can. We're 2 laps and a half to go now. Mark having 6-second time penalty, and this will be amazing for Henners, who is 4 behind. Now Coffee Sipper really close on the back of Brain Steel. I think he got turn 7 actually. But now he'll have the run on the Italian driver. Oh, look how they are swinging on that straight of the Mistral straight. Now Coffee Sipper will try on the inside. No, he actually has to yield. He doesn't want to commit on that overtake, and he'll try the move on the traction zone of turn 9, but still very far away for do that move. Now Mark really close on Neon.
Yeah, he needs to get back past on track if he wants to win this race. We're on lap 9. There's 2 more to go after this one, lap 10 and 11. And they're not too far off that penultimate lap either, but it's still the closest gap on track right now. Coffee Shipper looking at the rear of Brain Stew. Brain Stew winning that first race, but damage to the Univirtuosi now is costing him big time. And he's been struggling for the past few laps as a result of that missing end plate.
Yeah, now lap 10 from 11, Neon setting the fastest lap, and now Coffee Sipper very close. It seems like we have only 2 battles at the moment after such an insane campaign here in France on these F2 cars. Remember that qualifying on wets, we were on board with Neon saving a lot the rear end on those drives on that qualifying. Then on the future race as well, we had a wet race, and it was amazing to see a lot of wheel-to-wheel action, and we're having it again on dry conditions. Now Coffee Sipper 6 seconds worth of penalty, 9 seconds worth of penalty for Mark, 3 for Neon, 3 for Jones, 6 for Richie, 3 for Squid, 6 for Eric, and as well for Williams. Now we have an exchange. I think Richie spun.
He has indeed. He's got more damage, like, or at least existing damage. Also, I'm not sure what happened to Mark. He seemed to be running on 3 seconds of penalties. He's now got 9, so I don't know if he's been lumped with a double somewhere. But he has got 9 seconds to his name now, and that pretty much makes the win impossible now. Unless by some miracle, at least in his eyes, Neon and Henners and Brainstew and Coffee Sipper are all too far back to do anything about it. Actually, Coffee Sipper with 6 seconds. He's not really a threat to him. But yeah, he's got a big problem. And
Richie.
so has Richie. Where is he going? Well, off the track is the answer through turn 8 and 9. Lucas Giotto's car there having a little bit of a problem.
I think he went too early on the throttle, probably too much addicted to the throttle on turn 8 and turn 9, which you don't need to, and he has damage, so it's really difficult to manage that one. At the moment, no gaps closing or on the DRS window. Now Jones really close to get into that DRS window, very crucial. Now a Neon 6 second time penalty. This can be the win for Henners.
It's going to be close. Henna's not quite in that range right now. He's 7 seconds off of Neon. Not quite on the dot, but that's rounded. So he's got time to find, but it is possible. He'll definitely beat Mark here if everything goes his way on this final lap. Richie's out. He's called it quits in the pit lane. A lap from the end of this one. Psycho Moen behind him. They'll gain the position, but no points will be scored as a result. But all eyes on this man. Jones, he's getting nice and close to the rear back row as well, but that won't really affect the finishing order. If he goes for it, though, we will hop on board with him. But Henners, can he close the gap to the car in front?
I don't know, but Jones, I think he can. He's really close. He has DRS. And now he'll try to move on back road. The MP Motorsport driver holding on the outside on turn 8. Now he has the inside, hugging that inside on turn 9. We'll see if Jones has a better traction, but Backroad is parking the car on the apex of that corner. And now the slipstream, they run into turn 10. We'll see who has a better setup for these dry conditions and better straight line speed. Jones really close. They don't have to lift at this moment. They're full throttle on turn 10. He will try to move on turn 11. We'll see if he can do the switchback, but it doesn't seem likely. Oh, it's a very good move from Jones. He has damage. Backroad has damage, but Jones will try the move. He has 3 second time penalty though. I don't know if that can cost him the place. Now Backroad on the inside of the turn 12, very close. The wheel and the side pod, and Jones will be clear by, and now Neon crosses the line on P1, Mark on P2, and we'll see, because it seems like Henners will jump at least one of them. Yes, Henners will cross on 2nd place and Brinstew on 4th place.
Whoa, what a race. What an evening of F2 with just 15 drivers. They've really put on a show. Back row picks up P5, Macca 6th, Coffee Sipper 7th, Jones in 8th there. It may not have been for position, but what a move by Jones in those last few laps. Backrow actually promoted all the way up to P5, so he'll be happy with that one. Eric P10, Squid P9, so neither points for them because the sprint race only gives points to those in the top 8, and that's Neon, Henners, Mark, Brainstew, Backrow, Macca, Coffee Sipper, and Jones. Psycho Moen. Psycho crosses the line. Moen, last of the finishes here. Richie and Lovell both retiring in the pit lane after disappointing races for both of them. Lovell retiring in both races. Richie, of course, got P2 in that first one. But wow, What a race. Driver of the day to Jones, and I think he is fully deserving of that one. What a brilliant race. Some incredible overtakes from him today. But there we are, Neon. Very unstable in the first race. Maybe he was running a dry setup because it's paid off here for him. And then we're happy with that one. Henner's promoted to P2 on penalties past Mark. But Alex, what a race.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Neon will take the win here. Henner's second after a puncture on the future race. Mark third. A very complete weekend for him. A lot of action we saw here on the future was amazing with that wet conditions. No DRS. We didn't need to have DRS. And was amazing. So the results for the weekend will be Brainsteel taking that pole position, that fastest lap, and that win on the future one, and then 8 points on the sprint one. So Neon will jump into second place, 8, 15, and a fastest lap. Henner's on third place, Maka on 4 with 19 points. Richie after DNF on the sprint race will only take 18 for that second place. On the future, a lot of gap between Brainsteel and Richie. It was, I think, almost 20 seconds on that future race. Then back row on 6th place will take 16. Mark on 7th. Coffee Sipper on 8th. Moen on 9th. Eric, 1 point only, will take, as well as Jones on P11. Now Squid, Williams, Psycho, and Lovell pointless with on this weekend. They had a lot of action. Lovell had a lot of bad luck on that first race, but it was very incredible how they managed to, well, just, I was actually really excited to see those moves on corners like sector 3 very side, and just really thanked on what these drivers can do.
Yeah, I think the F2 cars, we got to thank them as well a little bit, because they really do. Because they're a little bit slower, you can afford to make these moves that aren't just quite as easy in the F1 cars. We saw a couple of them in the F1 races throughout the week, but my, the F2 grid here has really put on a stunning display of racing here in France. Just 15 drivers, but it's all you need when everyone's so close on track. Like you said, the wet weather in the feature race, the qualifying, they handled it well. It was very exciting to watch. Then we go to the dries. Neon setup seemed to come alive. Jones was absolutely flying through the field. He was one of those ones who was really putting those moves on, and I imagine he's going to get himself quite heavily featured in the highlights reel as a result. There was that monumental crash we saw coming out of turn 2 in the first race, the first lap. It seems so long ago now. We've seen so much action since then, but drama, excitement all throughout F2. So thank you to all the participants. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Again, shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. Check them out in the chat and the panels down below if you're looking for some awesome sim racing hardware, such as rigs, motion sims, that kind of thing. Make sure to check us out on our socials as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that good stuff, as well as join the Discord so you get notified when we go live, to join community events like this, and just to get be part of an awesome bunch of guys and girls from all around the world who are all focused on one thing, and that is motorsport. With that being said, Alex, that's just about wrapping F2 up for this week and next week as well. We won't be back, but Austria in 2 weeks' time. Any closing remarks before we go and raid someone in the F1 community?
Well, thanks to stay here on the chat, and well, I hope to see you guys on next week on Austria. Sorry, not next week, but the other one.
Yeah, so have a good Easter from all of us here at MRL. This is the final race, or it'll be broadcast for not 2 weeks' time. It'll be 1.5 when Tier 3 returns. Tuesday, not this week, but next week for Austria and kicking all of that action off. But yeah, have a good Easter, everyone. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.